Alright, everybody, welcome back. Um, so I'm not even gonna worry about this microphone today because the podcast is not working for some reason today. And also took a few days off from kind of everything. Went on a trip, so you didn't see a video for 3 days. But wasn't a whole lot that happened in those 3 days, or I would be covering it today, other than lockdown round 2, which I knew was going to happen, basically being rolled out today. So just checking something. Anyway, let's get right into this. There was a terrorist knife attack in Reading, which killed 3 people and left 3 others seriously injured, and today being declared a terrorist incident. Deputy Assistant Commissioner Dean Hayden, Senior National Coordinator for the Counterterrorism Policing Network, made the announcement this morning, being yesterday. Yesterday footage emerged, which shows a man being detained by officers in the middle of a street following a frenzied stabbing attack in the park, which is at the center of the Berkshire town. Witnesses said the attacker targeted a group of middle-aged men sitting, drinking beer, and systematically stabbed them in the neck and under the arms. The suspect was 25 and was arrested at the scene by a hero lone police sergeant who rugby tackled him to the floor. Meanwhile, despite the presence of counterterrorism officers and early reports as being treated as terror-related, police said last night they did not believe it was terror-related. And so that story doesn't have a whole lot of depth to it, but you can see that maybe the backing of terrorist organizations and not calling it terrorism. Meanwhile, if you go out as a right wing and protest a lockdown, you're a terrorist. So yeah, you can judge that for yourself. Trump wants to label Antifa as a terrorist organization. I thought he did already, but I guess he didn't. And he announced that first late last month in response to the George Floyd riots. To the surprise of many, the United Nations has now issued a statement revoking the White House attempt to impose legal designation. Upon a UN statement being issued on Friday, counterterrorism expert Max Abrams at first thought it was a joke, but the Geneva office cited unnamed experts associated with its Human Rights Council to express profound concern over a recent statement by the U.S. Attorney General describing Antifa and other anti-fascist activists as domestic terrorists, saying it undermines the rights of freedom and expression of people assembly in the country, meanwhile being none of those. This is completely ridiculous because the UN is the very one putting out and pushing this entire thing that right-wing people who go out and protest lockdowns are terrorists, all funded by Bill effing Gates. And like I said, I don't see how people understand this and believe that what they're seeing is the truth when all these major globalist corporations are backing what they're doing. Antifa doesn't go out peacefully, and they're not even going after the real fascists. They're claiming that any right-wing person is a Nazi and anti-Semitic because even though that's like the complete opposite of what your average right-winger believes, of course you have people who look more in depth to it, and then they get on this crazy Jew stuff, and then they turn into a neo-Nazi, and that can be a right-wing person, that can be a left-wing person. Right-wing is being opposite of Hitler and what he did as disarming his citizens and having a genocide of innocent people. He poses to some people as the savior and the ultimate good because he went after the Jews who, quote, control the world, even though it's just a select few at the top because they're Babylonian Talmud New Testament of Judaism is basically a satanic Bible. And so he poses as the savior for that. Meanwhile, he's actually running the whole thing and completely opposite of that, doing that as a way to kill innocent people and practice eugenics and all this other stuff practiced here in the United States by globalists, Rockefellers, Rothschilds. And he did it as a way so that you can't criticize the globalists because Hitler was a Jew himself. And when you do that, it makes it anti-Semitic or bad, and you're bad if you criticize the globalists because now you're being anti-Semitic because they're Jewish, quite frankly. So it's complete opposite of what he posed as. But you have some right-wingers, some left-wingers who believe Jews run the world. But right-wingers also get claimed as Nazis even though we're against what Hitler did in general, which is disarming and genocide and authoritarianism. And the actual fascists are Hitler, but even above Hitler. It's just a mess. It's crazy. Nazi Germany and Hitler was one of the greatest experiments, not great as in good, but amazing and just so elaborate in what they did. It's a huge double cross of everybody and deception. But now the UN is going after all this. Trump trying to call them domestic terrorists, calling them Antifa, going after fascists when they're doing nothing. They are the fascists. Blah, blah, blah. I could rant for days. See you all tomorrow.